Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is an absolute masterpiece in how to live an effective, a productive life. Today we are going to review it. We're going to break down those 7 habits. I'm John Henderson with the Conservative Book Society, reviewing and recommending books from a conservative perspective. Let's get to it. All right, out of the gate, there are a couple things that you got to know before we get to the 7 actual habits about this book. The first is that he thinks people need to build a strong character and then they need to have principles. And if you have a strong character and you have a strong set of principles, then you are going to live a productive, or as he says, effective life. Now, how do we get there? That's what the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is all about. These 7 habits will help develop a strong character and strong principles, values that you can live by in your personal life, in your business life, throughout your entire life. But before we move on, I want to define what we mean by character ethic, because he believes that we should all develop that strong character. And what is character to Stephen Covey? Let me read this. Character means integrity, humility, fidelity, temperance, courage, justice, patience, industry, simplicity, modesty, and the golden rule. He comes back to a lot of these values throughout the book, so it's important to understand what we mean, define our term, what we mean by character. Habit number 1 is be proactive. Humans, he says, are designed to take control of our lives, have agency to control a lot of things about our lives. Of course, we can't control everything, but we can take control of lots of things. We are not designed to be reactive. Feelings, he says, are reactive. Get mad at somebody because of something they did. But logic leads us to being proactive. The basic idea of being proactive is that you don't want to be acted upon. You want to go act on the world. And so try to anticipate the things that you need to do, plan to go out there and get it. Being proactive is all about taking charge and taking control. You go out there and develop a plan to be a better worker, a better husband, a better father, mother, daughter, wife, whatever it might be, but you develop that plan. If you want to run a better marathon, or you want to run a marathon at all, you need to have a plan to go do it, and not just go out there and attempt to do something without a plan. Be proactive. Habit number 2 is begin with the end in mind. I mean, this makes a ton of sense. If you don't know where you're going, you're just going to wander around throughout life. So you develop an idea of where you want to go, what kind of employee you want to be, whether you want to be a business owner, what that is, what kind of father you want to be, parent you want to be, what kind of spouse you want to be, friend, philanthropist, whatever it is that you want to be. Develop an idea of what that is, and then develop a plan to go get that. So he says that basically there are 2 beginnings to everything. Beginning number 1 is identifying what is it that you want to be, and beginning number 2 is taking the journey to go get there. So begin with the end in mind is really simple. You have to know where you're going and develop a plan to get there. All right, habit number 3 is put first things first. And this makes a ton of sense. You've got to focus on the most important things first. And he creates this diagram that sort of illustrates for us what he means by this. Is that you do not want to live a life where you are in constant panic mode, like important things that have to be done urgently. And you don't want to be living a life where you're focused on unimportant things and acting urgently to do unimportant things. And you don't want to live a life where you're just totally not doing anything that is important and nothing that is urgent. You're just a lazy person. So the place for us to be is to focus most of your attention, at least prioritize your attention on the very important things that are not urgent. That means that you have to plan for the future. You've got to be in front of everything so that you're not acting in urgency. Sometimes you got to act out of urgency because things pop up. But a lot of times we can control that. You want to reduce the urgency as much as possible and focus on the most important things in life. Habit number 4 is think win-win. And this can be challenging because it's hard to think when you are in an adversarial position with somebody else, how both of you can win. But you can't think of it as an adversarial position. This is particularly hard in law where I practice, where everything is set up so this side versus this side all the time. Thinking win-win is trying to figure out how both sides can win in every situation. So it's not a zero-sum game where one side is going to win and one side is going to totally lose. And it is not a total compromise where everybody is going to be a loser. You want to try to create circumstances where both sides feel like they're winning. And this takes a lot of patience, a lot of listening to other people. Some of those skills that we all know that we've got to practice are very important to try to figure out what does that person want, that other person really want, and what do I really want, and how can we figure out how both of us are going to get the things that we really need or that we really want to create that win-win circumstance. Imagination. It takes a lot of creativity and imagination, which means being actively involved, proactive in thinking about solutions. Another point on win-win is it is about having a strong character to be able to put your own ego aside, to be able to focus on win-win situations. It's about developing relationships and understanding other people and what you really want, opening up dialogue and lots of other things. But the big thing he says is that make your life to the greatest extent possible, make it a binary choice. You are either making decisions that are win-win with other people or you're not making a deal at all. Habit number 5, seek first to understand and then to be understood. This is another one that is very basic, but he shows us how to do this. Let me read this quote for you. We have such a tendency to rush in, to fix things up with good advice, but we often fail to take the time to diagnose, to really deeply understand the problem first. If I were to surmise in one sentence the single most important principle that I've learned in the field of interpersonal relations, it would be this: seek first to understand, then to be understood. And it's as simple as that. Understand the problem. Don't just rush in and try to fix it. Take a step back, gather all the information you possibly can, and then try to come up with a solution. Habit number 6, synergize. What a great word. And what this means, what he means by this is bring lots of different parts together. And that creates a much stronger whole. You will see this in successful marriages where two people work together. You will see this in successful companies where lots of different people, the leader of that company is able to bring all the talents and skills from many different people or various different people together to create an amazing result. But the idea is that none of us on our own are going to be able to create amazing results. So we need to bring people together, synergize, get everybody on the same page, use everybody's talents towards a common goal. And habit number 7 is called sharpening the saw. In it, he describes for us how you need to take care of yourself and continuing sharpening your skills. This is continuing education, but it's also getting away from the office in an environment where you can think creatively, or it might be exercising where you have a time away from other people to try to reflect on what you're doing. It also could be rest and relaxation, taking regular vacations to recharge your battery and all sorts of things. And in summation, these 7 habits are going to make you a more productive person, a better leader in your business environment, a better leader in your household, a better friend to lots of different people and everybody in your lives. Everything you do can come back to these 7 habits to help develop a stronger character, better principles. But here's the thing, is that they don't come easy. You cannot read the book and not do the actual stuff. You have to make the effort to actually do these things. You have to make the effort to think win-win, and it's not always easy. You have to make the effort to sharpen the saw and continue learning and improving yourself. You have to make tremendous effort to make these 7 habits a part of your everyday mentality and your physical being. I'm John Henderson with the Conservative Book Society. Thanks for watching.